international organization that's closely aligned with US interests. This makes sense considering that the institution was established during World War II, specifically at the Bretton Woods Conference, which also established the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. Similarly to the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, the World Bank's purpose is to issue loans to developing countries. Also, like IMF loans, World Bank loans come with lots of conditions. Recently, these conditions have focused on ensuring the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are met. If you watched our recent video about the UN's digitization report, you'll know that the SDGs appear to be the origin of dystopian ideas like digital IDs, CBDCs, and smart cities. The SDGs are also the origin of the 2030 date you keep seeing everywhere. Every country must meet the UN's SDGs by 2030. Our research suggests that the SDGs are being enforced by international organizations that represent the private sector and the public sector. On the private sector side, you have organizations like the World Economic Forum, or WEF, whose ESG investment criteria are explicitly based on the UN's SDGs. On the public sector side, meanwhile, you have organizations like the World Bank, which have been issuing loans to countries with SDG-type conditions attached. Many of these loans have apparently focused on restricting the usage of fossil fuels, which has made it difficult for some countries to get out of poverty. From what we can tell, the incentive for the private sector is greater profits, at least in theory. For the public sector, the incentive is control, mainly geopolitical control. Now, obviously, there's lots of overlap between these groups. Global governments are often lobbied by international corporations. And nowhere is this overlap more apparent than the relationship between the World Bank and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. If you watched our video about digital IDs, you'll know that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has been working closely with the World Bank to roll out a digital ID. As it so happens, the Gates Foundation has also been working closely with the World Bank to roll out fast payment systems. We discovered this when doing research for our video about FedNow. The World Bank has a page that tracks fast payment system development, and this is what it says. Quote, "Fast payments, also known as instant, real-time, immediate, rapid, make funds immediately available to beneficiaries and can be used around the clock on a 24/7 basis. They are supported by central infrastructures which enable banks and non-banks to connect and to build additional overlay services for end users. The Payment Systems Development Group of the World Bank has assisted more than 120 countries in modernizing their payment systems over the years and, more recently, has played a leading role in global research and technical assistance to countries on fast payment systems. Project FAST is a new milestone in this critical work, sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation." End quote.
Synchron is another US-based BCI startup company that has already completed their first round of human trials in 2023, implanting 10 patients with their own neuron sensing electrodes. This company is important to watch because it is currently being funded by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, two wealthy and powerful individuals who do not seem to like Elon Musk very much. The method used by Synchron to access the brain is considerably less invasive than the procedure being done at Neuralink, which is a big factor in allowing human trials at Synchron to move at a faster pace. Instead of approaching the brain through the skull, Synchron uses a stent-based procedure that they call a stentrode. A stent is basically just a wire that is inserted into a blood vessel, which is just a large vein. They're like the highways of the circulatory system. Typically, doctors will use a stent to free up a blockage inside the vessel that might cause a heart attack or stroke. In the case of the stentrode, the device is using a primary blood vessel as an express lane directly from the chest into the cerebral cortex. Once the stentrode arrives in the brain to an area directly below the motor cortex, an expandable mesh is deployed that interfaces with the walls of the vessel. And this mesh contains 16 electrode sensors that can begin detecting and transmitting neural activity back down through the wire and into a device that is attached to the patient's chest. So how does that compare to Neuralink? Well, let's go back to what we were just talking about at the beginning. The first Neuralink patient has had 64 tiny wires inserted into the surface of their brain by an ultra-precise surgical robot, and each wire contains 16 electrodes just in the microscopic tip that goes around 2 millimeters deep into the brain tissue. That is a total of 1,024 individual electrodes that are distributed across the circular hole that's been cut into the patient's skull. And then, looking at our stentrode again, we have 16 electrodes placed inside a blood vessel that is adjacent to the brain material we want to monitor. Even with this significant
This device is made to be inserted into the brain, allowing people living with paralysis to control their phones, computers, and beyond using only their thoughts.
I can talk to you with my thoughts.
We visited Synchron headquarters to get a demo of how it's inserted into the brain without the need for open brain surgery.
So I'm just going to open this, and then this is going to go up through the jugular vein, up into the brain. And now we deploy the device.
Once in position inside the brain, the Synchron switch can detect the user's intent to move and transmit it wirelessly to take the desired action.
Stare at it and think about moving for a long time, and it'll start zooming in. Yeah, and release. So you made a click, your first click with your brain.
For our full story on Synchron,
Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to our apostles and our elders of the great Church of Great Millstone. Shalom, peace and love to our bishops and elders out in Connecticut. Shalom, peace and love to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect that are listening and learning. You know, I just wanted to do it real quick in transit. You know, Spirit hopped on me to go to this website called thesociable.co. You know, that's a website that I get a lot of articles from dealing with, you know, technology, you know, and things that are happening worldwide, you know, globally, you know, with technology. And I'm sitting here meditating like, okay, what should I do videos on throughout the week, you know? And I'm like, man, should I do videos, you know, jumping back and forth from getting on Jake and going into prophecy, you know, but I need to start doing videos on Saturday and Sunday too, all right? And I'm like, okay, man, it's Saturday, let me look for something to do a video on. And the Spirit said, go to thesociable.co. So I went to thesociable.co, and lo and behold, you know, I come across this article, and I fact-checked it through Google. Anyways, you know, you got Google AI, and they basically, you know, call themselves putting up things that are truthful or whatnot, all right? Even though they still be lying. So I come across this article, and the Hates founded World Bank project seeks to connect digital ID with fast payment system. You know what that mean, right? And Salakia, you know, I'm a little excited, you know. That Great Millstone is right concerning the MOTB, which is an acronym for the Mark of the Beast. I'm going to just say it straight up. All right, the Mark of the Beast is the chip. All right, it's the brain chip. We've always been saying it. And there's a little thing called gradualism. All right, they don't give it to you all at once, but they give it to you piece by piece, because if they try to force feed it down your throat, you just regurgitate it. You just spit it up. So they're gradually easing the world. All right, it's going to be the whole world, but America's going to push it. According to prophecy, Revelation, the 13th chapter, when you go into, you could begin at the 11th verse and work your way all the way down to verse 18. All right. But once you get to 16 to 18, that's when it really begins to start talking about the mark, which is going to be a physical thing. And it's really the Most High Heavenly Father's mark, and he's allowing it to come upon the world as a great test, pursuant to Revelation 3 and 10, that he will bring this test upon the whole world, but that he's going to allow certain men and believers to basically be delivered from receiving it because they have kept the word of the Lord. So let me read a little bit of this. It says the public-private financial revolution requires every person to have a digital identity so they can be tracked, traced, connected to a programmable digital currency perspective with financial backing from the Kiel and Belinda Gates Foundation. The World Bank is looking to connect digital ID and fast payment systems in an effort to make digital public infrastructure (DPI) more seamless and interoperable. So what does it mean to be interoperable? Let's look up real quick. Let me grab we're going to go to the dictionary.com. All right, interoperable, capable of being used or operated reciprocally. All right, which I really like definitions that really simplify things. But anyway, that'll work. That will work. So let's go to Google real quick. What does Google have to say about this? And Salakia, I'm kind of rolling into an area where I don't have that good of a signal. All right, it was just up. Let's get it back up again. So it says, the World Bank supports digital identification, ID systems, and government. Salakia. Bear with me, Baba Kusha. I have to do it like that. And government to person, G2P. All right, payment through its identification for development, ID4D and G2PX initiatives, respectively. These initiatives aim to improve access to services, enhances financial inclusion, and promote digital public infrastructure, DPI. All right, this is all part of their agenda. All right, that they want to have accomplished by 2030, but they're really hastening the program, and that's due to the Heavenly Father. Look, man, the Heavenly Father is making them haste. All right, as it states within the book of Job. The World Bank works in the area focused on creating inclusive, secure, and user-centered digital ID systems, and on digitizing G2P payments to leverage DPI for better service delivery. So I'm gonna link this, I'm gonna link this so that you can see that this isn't made up, man. We're definitely in those times. The book of Habakkuk, at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right, it also states, I'm gonna rub it in. Let's see if I can find it real fast. Isaiah, the 44th chapter, and beginning at verse 25. And I'll read this in the I'll read Isaiah 44, 25, and 26 in the NLT. Because as it is written, you shall know that a prophet has been among you. Captain Tazariak popping off, talking all of this shit, talking about how Great Millstone are sexual deviants. All right, and he said what he said. You can go and watch the video. All right, but really, the true sexual deviance is ISUPK. All right, which General Muhammad, promoted adultery, saying that Chris Rock, because he can't beat Will Smith in the fight, the only way that he can get his revenge back is to sleep with Will Smith's wife. All right, that's off, man. That shit is off. That's wicked. And then your leader, all right, which is General Yohana, all right, General Ohana Pop, said that you could do it in the butt. So you're the sexual deviants. But when it comes down to Great Millstone, well, every camp that's out there bite off Great Millstone. Beginning with our apostles and elders, you bite off them. All right, meaning that you take pieces, of information from them to grow your knowledge. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure, and three things solidifying it is that Great Millstone is the company of prophets. All right, we're prophets, the prophets of the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And it's going to be made known who are the prophets, because as you said, a tree is known by its fruits. Well, where are your fruits and labors? Each man that is in ISUPK, do they have their own channel? All right, are they laboring constantly to do the work? All right, and the answer is no. No one's putting out prophecies and breaking down the Bible like Great Millstone is. All right, every brother in Great Millstone has a channel, and they all do the work. So let's go to this. All right. I expose the false prophets and liars and make fools of fortune tellers. I cause the wise to give bad advice, thus proving them to be fools. Yeah, because the Lord will put a lying spirit in the midst of your prophets. All right, yeah, go and don't get into prophecy or teaching the Bible. Get into talking shit in like a one of them women shows. All right, they used to come on like what's that, Jenny Jones? I think that was that chick's name. Wendy Williams. All right, where's your prophecies at? Okay. It ain't too many camps that are out there. Only Great Millstone and the affiliate camps have been pushing the truth concerning the mark of the beast. Now here's it. Here's the point. But I carry out the predictions of my prophets. By them, I say to Jerusalem, people will live here again, and to the towns of Judah, you will be rebuilt. I will restore your ruins. Because before the kingdom can come, all right, these last final prophecies have to happen. And the prophecy that really sets the tone for everything is the mark of the beast. And we're right here at that time. We're right here at that time. All right, this is it. And we have been warning you. Are you going to take heed? Are you going to listen? All right, or are you going to be willfully ignorant? On that, I'm signing out.